One pitcher and one hitter that you must avoid in the National League East. I'm Alan Seslowsky. He's Jeff Erickson. The Nationals. Who's the pitcher that you must avoid?
Patrick Corbin's the guy I'm avoiding there. His go-to pitch, his slider, was a disaster last year. I just don't see much of a pathway to improvement. He might get strikeouts, but the velocity actually did not go down. But I just see him being a mess. I see just the workload toll he's had over the years. I think it's taken a lot of bite out of his slider. I just maybe he finds a way to retool it, regrip it, or something of that nature. But not going to be on my watch.
Where are the sharp players drafting him right now?
Oh, late. It's still super late. Like we're talking like 400s.
Who's the Nationals hitter that you're avoiding?
I don't think Carter Kieboom's ever going to lower the boom. So I'm just going to avoid taking that flyer on him, find other guys. To be honest, it's kind of punching down. And I feel bad about this. So with the Nats, I was looking at their depth chart, and I'm taking Soto. I'm taking, I will take some Lane Thomas here and there. But it's either guys that I will take that I'm kind of interested in, or guys that aren't getting drafted, period. So it's a very binary kind of lineup there. Couple of ones and a lot of zeros.
Let's talk about a pitcher that you're not drafting.
I'm not taking Miami Marlins Pablo Lopez just because of the shoulder problems. I get squeamish about shoulders. So he won't just be on my watch. He's going around pick 150, and that's just too soon for my liking. Anytime you got a pitcher like that, high upside. I understand the motivation for taking it. It's just going to be other people are going to take him.
Bats. Who's a player that you just don't like their ADP right now?
Jazz Chisholm. And I think you nailed the point here is I like the player. I don't like what happened in the second half. I could be hellaciously wrong on this one here. He could end up being a top 3-round player, or he could be hitting 200 this year. I think that's the range of outcomes with him. And so qualifies at second and short. There's a lot of speed, but there's also just super low downside in terms of batting average.
Who's the pitcher that you're just staying away from right now?
Well, the fact that they just went out and traded for Chris Bassett suggests to me that they're not confident about Carlos Carrasco coming back fully healthy. Earlier I thought that maybe he was worth a chance. I think he's going a little too high for the injury risk, and now the likelihood that he might not be around. It might also squash a little of my hopes for Tyler McGill, who I actually have a lot of shares of. Think he's a good strikeout guy, but it's now a crowded rotation for the Mets.
All right, let's talk about the Mets hitters. Who don't you like at their current draft cost?
So this is a tough one because I like most of the Mets players and their costs. In fact, I've drafted them in many places, but I'm not going to draft Jeff McNeil for the cost. Possibility he loses playing time. Robinson Canoa's back. They've got multiple guys that could fill that DH role, so I'm finding it very difficult to pay the full price on Jeff McNeil.
Philadelphia Phillies. Who's the pitcher that is just too expensive?
Zack Wheeler on Sunday said that. Well, Didi Dombrowski said about him that he's going to be behind. And at first he kind of downplayed it, and then later on we found out that it's because Wheeler dealt with some shoulder soreness when he started his throwing program back in December. So he's behind schedule. Has not been throwing off a mound. With a 4-week ramp up, he's not going to be ready for opening day. I just downgraded his projection by 10%. He's no longer a first 2 rounds pitcher for me, which is a shame. I have him in 3 leagues already. I won't be taking him anymore. I've got enough risk on him.
Which Phillies hitter is going to be lower in the RotoWire rankings than in the consensus?
Didi Gregorius came out also that he's got to compete for that starting job at shortstop. Bryson Stott could win the job. Stott had a fantastic Arizona Fall League. Didi is not a good defensive shortstop also, so that's a mark against him. The Phillies, this is a lineup that's still under construction. I think there's 2 to 3 guys that need to be added in this team to make them whole. And I think you're going to see them be active in free agency or trades in the run up to the start of the regular season. So I think Didi's a guy that could miss out once all the chairs are done being shuffled.
I'm curious to hear which Braves pitcher you're staying away from.
It's Charlie Morton. Remember, he got hurt in the first game of the World Series, the leg injury, and there was an update a couple of weeks ago saying that he might not be ready for opening day. They're not quite sure about that yet. And there's a lot of other pitchers in his range that I'd just rather go ahead and take. Give me Joe Musgrove over him. Give me his teammate Max Fried over Morton. Going down a little farther, I think you can find other pitchers I like. I need a couple, like 3 to 4 round discount on Charlie Morton before I take him, especially at his age.
Okay, who's the must-avoid Atlanta Braves hitter?
It's a might avoid Atlanta Braves hitter and Travis d'Arnaud. It's a mild avoid. And even that, his cost is kind of relatively low, but there are other catchers I like better when I'm trying to get my second catcher.
All right, since you watched this video to the end, You've waited for it. Jeff Erickson's prediction. Who's going to finish at the bottom of this division, the NL East this year?
I think it's going to be the Washington Nationals, especially if the Marlins go out and get another hitter or two.
To see all of RotoWire's fantasy baseball draft kit, premium podcasts, articles, and other rankings and cheat sheets, go to rotowire.com/try.